Hey, 488 folks, I thought I'd drop this video off to you guys. Man, you guys are coming along really good on your writing. You're just at a point now where I'm trying to hone you in to that perfect spot. And if you keep working at it, it's not going to affect your grade, I promise, because if you keep coming back with making the improvements I tell you, I'm going to keep giving you points, okay? Um, I told a lot of you before, I'll tell you guys again, I don't mind giving out A's and B's, okay? I don't mind it at all. If you guys are willing to work for it and you want to pull an A in this class, you can. It's not about the exams. It's not about the quizzes. It's just about how much you're willing to work, all right? The executive summaries, the biggest problem this time around was people didn't really jump into that Porter part, you know, the industry analysis. It's real important when we're looking at companies to acquire or companies that we want to invest in or companies that we want to do business with to understand what their industry is like. And so it's really important that we understand what the competitive rivalry is, okay? The barriers to entry are, the threats to entry are, understanding who has control, the buyer or supplier. So a lot of times, that's the ice machine. I thought someone was knocking at the door. A lot of times we're trying to figure out, you know, who's in control here in this industry. Are the suppliers or the buyers? And so a lot of times when a supplier is in control, it's usually a leveraged product or something that is very unique that only they have, like jet engines or proprietary engineering product that is covered by patents and copyrights. This is important. Why? It's important because we're trying to understand how pricing is going to play and what the profits are going to be like. When buyers have control, the profits go down, okay? So as a buyer getting into an industry, I want to know who has control, obviously, because my profits could go down. So it's real important to understand who has control. And so it's important that you go through this and you articulate, you know, what the industry is like, okay? And in the case of Under Armour, fierce competition, man. And actually, there's very few big players. The threats to entry are, it's how you look at this. Yeah, you can bring in new people every day, but are they going to be players? No, not overnight. But Under Armour kind of was, wasn't it? So there's some arguments that fly in the face of that. But I think right now, with companies like Under Armour and Nike swatting it out so hard, I certainly want to get in there unless I had some revolutionary product that's going to change the world, right? So I don't think threats are too high right now. Threats of substitution are off the chart, right? But who has control? Does my suppliers, Under Armour's suppliers, or does Nike's suppliers have control? No, because the reason is these companies are generating the technology, and people in Vietnam, Russia, China, and the BRICS are making the products just the way we tell them. So there really isn't a particular threat there by suppliers. So the buyers for these companies own it. Now, if we look at it from the standpoint of these companies being suppliers, me being the buyer, I have control. So consumer end users of these products have control. So you can look at it two different ways. You got to make sure that we're talking the right thing. When I ask you for a Porter's model on an industry analysis about an industry we're studying, it's that industry, not the end user, that I'm worried about. So when I say buyer, it means Nike's buyers, Under Armour's buyers, Adidas's buyers, okay? So we can get that confused all day long, and we did even in MBA classes. So it's just something we have to work our way through. All right, the other point is, again, on the SWOT analysis, continue to develop your SWOTs. Man, if Nike's sitting there with a bunch of threats over their head, you know what some of their threats are. If they start losing some of their celebs and their endorsements, that's going to go down. And they are going to, because Under Armour is going to be an MLB product here pretty soon. And so they'll be picking up a lot of that baseball stuff. So that'll be interesting. And so that'll go against Nike's basketball stuff. So what's going to happen is you're going to have people in 3 different arenas: tennis and volleyball and running. Adidas kind of like picks up a lot of, maybe I'm wrong here about the volleyball, but I don't know for sure. Where basketball is owned by Nike, right? We all agree with that. Baseball is going to be owned by Under Armour. Football seems to be owned a bit by Under Armour and Nike. There's like, Adidas is non-existent. So that being said, it's going to be an interesting future there. But now you guys are moving on to a whole new thing. You have to pick a company in your groups to decide who you're going to do an industry analysis on. It can't be Under Armour, it can't be Nike, and it cannot be Adidas. Everything else is fair game. Make sure you can get good information on it. Sometimes people try to go way off in the bushes, and it gets really hard to do that, okay? All right. Saturn's coming up. You got Saturn coming up this week. Have fun with that. $10 says, Manga's money says Saturn's coming back. Okay? May not come back in the exact form it went away in, but it may come back. When I went to Ferris State, Saturn was on campus recruiting for their plants down south, and you could come out of Ferris with a 4-year degree in plastics in the 80s and make 60 grand a year. True story. All right, have a good night. I'm going to try and get your midterm grades in as fast as I can for you. Been doing a lot of correcting, so it's not quite been that easy. So give me a little bit of time, okay? Talk to you later.